Right. Aloha, everyone. This is Leimomi Keliikuli, Intuitive Soul. I'm a coach here, and I'm here with Emma Burton, and she is an amazing energy editing, right, healer. And I want to share a lot about in my Leimomi TV, Mastering Your Soul's Gift Interview Series, and we're going to kind of talk about like kind of her background stories and what really got her into her master genius. So thank you so much, Emma, for coming on. Why don't we start with, like, tell us who you are, you know, what you do, how you became a master genius at what you do.
Okay, well, I'm Emma Burton, and I have been teaching yoga and meditation for 16 years and love that. But I trained as an energy editing professional a couple of years ago. And I became a single mum and needed just to find a way of working with my children or around my children's schooling. And somebody I knew was doing the energy editing, and she was really inspiring me. So I did home courses and managed to learn this great new skill. And it's brilliant because it fits really nicely in with my yoga and my meditation, but just takes it on a little bit further. So rather than just being in the yoga studio on the mat, it's feeling good for longer and longer lasting effects.
Awesome. So from your perspective, like, why is it so important, you know, for you to do this and like creating that order and that success in your life so that, you know, why do people need the yoga? Why do people, you know, need your energy, you know, editing, and like what really gathers people to actually want to, you know more knowledge about that?
So with the yoga, people come and they feel leaving so much better. So yoga every day feels amazing. And for me, the first time I ever did it, it was literally, I just could not believe how amazing that felt. My first ever class, and I was totally hooked. So I sort of fell into learning more about it. And then as a yoga teacher, I have lots of clients and I run a studio, and it seems like people want you to fix their life just through doing yoga. And yoga is great. It makes you feel wonderful. It's good for your body. It's good for your mind. But with the energy editing, you can really, really help people make the transformations in their life, as I did in my life. And for me, I always struggled with that self-love thing. And everyone's talking about love yourself. But for me, I just couldn't do it. I just literally could not do it. So the yoga helps, the meditation helps, but the energy editing was allowing me to clear the blocks out of the way so that I could really love myself. And the course that I created was specifically designated to get people to find their soul's purpose, but to love themselves, and then all the answers come. So it's been fun learning and working with that.
Mm-hmm. So, you know, when you were growing up as a child, like, what lit you up? Like, how does that play into why you do this today?
Well, my mum was always really inspiring to me, and she was a homeopath and she was a healer, and she was kind of one of the weird and wonderful people that everyone thought was a little bit strange, but we were open up to that sort of alternative lifestyle from very young age. And then for me, I was like the little girl who always wanted to play with the other little children and the other babies, and I didn't really know what I ever wanted to do. I just had different jobs, learning different skills, but the only thing I really wanted was to be a mom myself. And the actual niche that I work with now for my energy editing is helping people to become parents themselves. So this feels like totally on my purpose right now, and it's just so exciting. And it's quite early days for the work I've done, but I've got a few little bumps cooking, and so hopefully I can just help people to clear their blocks around becoming parents for the mindset.
Yes, love it. So, like, tell us, you know, a little bit more deeper about behind your vulnerable stories about, you know, your life and your business, and, you know, what did it feel like being misaligned, and how did you get back into that alignment?
So, yeah, I mean, I guess everyone has their low points because that's where you find your high points. And I became a single mum when my children were 1 and 3, and I just knew that I needed to make a change and make a break. So I took a job, any job that I could have, and I was working in an office and just not really being well paid and not seeing my children. And it was heartbreaking leaving my really young children with an au pair, and I'd see them for like half an hour each side of the day. And I just knew really quickly I had to make changes because they grow so fast. So then I became a yoga teacher in schools, and that was brilliant. It meant I could work around the term time. And then I just knew actually I really wanted to show them that I could be a businesswoman and show them that I could, you know, be a mum and a businesswoman and actually be really happy doing it. My mum was great, but she never quite had the money that she needed to survive. So I always saw her struggling. So I was determined that I was going to change that, and again use the energy editing to help clear my blocks and things. And my eldest son is dyslexic, and he was really struggling at school. And I was really worried about him for years because we didn't really know what it was, and we got it diagnosed, and he just was at a school where he wasn't coping with it, and his self-esteem went so low. And I really dreamed of sending him to another school, a private school, but where they had smaller class sizes and he could be better nurtured. And using the energy editing, I managed to make that happen. And now they've been at that school for a year and they're literally blossoming, and I'm not worrying about them anymore. It's phenomenal. It's brilliant.
Wow, that's amazing. Like going from that into really,
Yeah.
really thriving.
And I worked out my numbers, and I was working the whole money I was earning in a week when I first left my marriage and was earning, and now I'm earning that in an hour. So it's changed dramatically, and I do all the school runs and I get to watch them play in matches, and it's brilliant, absolutely brilliant working from home.
Yeah, isn't it amazing how like when you're really doing something that's in alignment to you, like you make way more money, you make, you know, way more happiness for yourself and like every form of abundance, right? Like it's totally different than you trying to like fit yourself in this box of what you think that you need to do or be. And then you end up going back into the thing that you actually desire to actually help people with, right? Because the thing that really wasn't working, now it has to work, right?
Yeah, it's exactly, the universe is there and it just helps you. And sometimes you have to take that leap of faith. And changing the schools was a massive leap of faith because my business is quite young and the yoga studio was just 3 years old. So it was a big leap of faith. But for the mental satisfaction of happy children, it means I can really concentrate on the enjoyment factor of my work, and it's brilliant.
Was there a difference when you switched from the yoga to the energy editing? Did you feel like a big shifting happen also?
Yeah, I still teach yoga now. Like I taught a class this morning and I still love it, but I'm actually bringing my energy editing into the yoga studio more. So, you know, we'll have a theme of the week, and at the moment it's appreciating and really bringing that sense of it into the yoga studio. And then the course that I did was for the My Soul's Purpose course, where people can do it at home. And that is, each asana is including an energy edit. So it's meant to be 9 weeks, but actually it's quite interesting. Some people sort of stop and they avoid it for a while. And then I ask them to go back and find where they stopped and what was going on. And they're like, yeah, it was respect myself was the thing that they were working on. And they sort of had some life had to happen to them. And then they went back and finished it. And it's really interesting where they stopped. So it's been fun doing the two together.
Yeah, yes. I think that's so important. Like when you get in alignment, you have to understand that the parts of yourself that you used to do, you know, like let's say you're a lawyer, but you're really interested in energy healing. Like, why can't you use your intuitive abilities in your, you know, as a lawyer, right? Or as a yoga teacher, why can't you have this other part as part of what you do? Because it's kind of like a skill, right? It's like a skill that you've learned, you've been taught, and it's something that needs to kind of like be put together and not separate, because we tend to separate, like we should only do this or do that.
Yeah, and it takes a while to do that, because when I created this course, I really wanted to find a way of doing it. So I was exploring, and I ended up doing the energy editing, so the muscle testing to find out which which order to put them in, and then which two working together. And sometimes when I do my energy editing, some of the clients, especially if they know yoga, sometimes we will bring a yoga asana into it, and I'll test up which one they need to do without even asking them about it. Just that's what presents, so it's fun.
Awesome. So what would be like your like 3 like must do steps like to really get into that alignment and to use that energy editing in the yoga practice?
So for me, meditation has been always my kind of stable diet. And when things aren't going right, I'm like, oh yeah, for a few days I've missed. And just even 15 minutes I do every day. And it's just, and usually I try and do it before my kids wake up in the morning. And I actually just sometimes just sit up in bed and just do it then. So really start the day off well. And the other thing that I do, which is really easy, but sometimes you get forgetful, and that's shavasana, so lying flat for 10 minutes every day, and it just helps your energetic body kind of catch up with your physical body and integrate. So if you're feeling like a bit tired or a bit naggy or just out of sorts, that lying down for 10 minutes really helps. It's amazing. And then of course yoga, just a gentle yoga practice, even just a few minutes of flowing, breathing, stretching, lengthening, just brings you all back into center and feels awesome.
Yes, I agree about the whole lying down flat and doing nothing. Like that is so essential, like for any one of the the gifts is like learning how to be present with yourself, like in that very moment, and let yourself like settle. Because we're constantly moving, we're constantly thinking, we're like thinking about the next thing. And we kind of forget about like the essentials about whatever we wanted at the moment. Or what feels right. And then when we just settle just for a little bit, like all the thoughts, the emotions, everything just becomes like more clear. This is actually how you find more clarity, because we think like, oh, we just keep going, we're going to find more clarity, but you actually don't. You find more clarity when you actually stop, you breathe, you stretch, you meditate, close your eyes, and just be present.
And it's like that surrender when you're busy doing and just being still. And often it can take 10 minutes for my mind to slow down, but when you do, it's just that stillness, that peace, and that surrender. And it's almost like giving up the control of your life to source energy, and then it feels good.
So during those times when you kind of feel like you just want to give up, like what keeps you going? Like what gets you like saying it's okay, like I can keep doing this? Like what is like that bigger why for you?
So for me, music is just so essential. And when times were really tough and I was struggling with money and kids and parenting and having no support in my life, music was always there, and just turning up the music, listening to the words, and just it literally just lifts my soul so much. And then sometimes on the school run, if the kids are being a bit sort of naggy or whiny and there's a song on, we just turn the music up and we all just get happy. And my kids love having a disco in the evening, and I'm like, oh, I'm tired, and they're like, please mum, so we just turn the music. In fact, my speakers are actually broken at the moment because I think they turned out too loud when I wasn't looking. So yeah, music is awesome.
Yes, I agree. Like just dancing and just like having fun, and that like creating joy just by dancing is so important too. Like we always like are so serious. Like we gotta do this thing, and that's where the connection, right, with yourself and with others, naturally you connect with source by just doing that.
Yeah, and on days when I feel really tired, I've learned not to do too much and just allow myself to just watch a movie and literally just give myself a day off from trying to do anything other than the minimal thing that I do. And I advise my clients a lot because people struggle to just have downtime. So You know, when I feel that my mind isn't in a really happy, positive place, it's just like, okay, just either music or a film, or just do less.
Yes.
Relax.
Do less and then you can do more.
Exactly.
So how do you define success? My audience is very intrigued about people's way of what they believe is success and money and, creating from that place. So what kind of like pain did you have to endure to actually know like what success really means to you?
So as a teenager and in my early 20s, I suffered from body dysmorphic syndrome, but it was undiagnosed. There was just this horrible voice in my head that literally hated me, and it was so unbearable. And the yoga quietened it. But for me now, I don't have that anymore. And I haven't had that really since I've become a single mummy. And it's just the acceptance of myself and the peace and the love for myself. But it wasn't an easy, natural thing for me to do. But now I have that. It's, there's days when you can give yourself a hard time, for example, on the yoga mat or something, but it's not there. I really, hand on heart, can love and accept me just the way I am. And it feels really good. So contentment feels good. And then for success, obviously, having the lifestyle, my children in the school that I've dreamt of that are nurturing for them, but having time to be with the children and, taking photos of them, but really cherishing the moments, like sitting on my favorite chair in the garden and just watching them play together on the trampoline. And I dreamt for so long of having a garden big enough for a trampoline. And it's just like, I love it so much to just enjoy them.
Yes, yes. And I think that's what's more important is that connection, that connection to yourself and that deeper acceptance, right? So what advice would you give to someone who wants to get in their genius but really hasn't yet? Like, what helped you decide, again, like to do this work and create a soul-aligned life and to really choose to do this as an expert in what you do? Like, what would you say to them to take their next step?
So I would say, know that you can. For example, I ran a half marathon when I was going through my divorce, and I wanted to achieve something. I didn't want to talk about it. I didn't want to be negative, but I knew, and I wasn't a good runner at all. So I set myself the challenge to run and train for a half marathon. And I learned so much out of training for that 6 months, because I knew that even though I didn't think I ever could do it previously, I wanted to. I needed that challenge. I needed that focus. And with some help and with some training, with a strategy, you really can get to it. And yet it was only a half marathon. And it didn't even matter how fast I did it. I set myself the goal and I achieved it. And for the first time in my life, I really, truly believed that I could do whatever it was I set my mind to. With business, you want to get to a business where it's this high. So you start taking little steps, and then it just comes. And trust in yourself, trust in the universe, and patience.
Yeah, true. Like, patience is key. And just trusting the process that you're going to get to where you want to be, right? It's like, we just want it now. We just want it to like have it right now. We make the money. We like, do everything we think that we need to. But it's not about that. It's about the journey. It's about like going with the flow with what feels right, uncovering all of these different barriers that you put on yourself, right? And you clear the blocks and then you come back to yourself, and it's a kind of like a work in progress.
And for me, appreciation is the key word at the moment. I just set up a little Facebook group, and it's the art of appreciation. And just for me to take time and to share, and for other people, because the process of appreciating any little tiny things just gets you into that beautiful zone. And then you can just change your energy up so quickly. It feels good.
Yes, yes. So do you have like any last things you want to share with us that you feel that would really, really benefit everyone else that's listening?
I think for me, dreaming, and remember to dream. Because when I felt down and sad and not good enough, I've stopped dreaming and believing that, you know, the things that you want in your life are possible. So if you have desires, really, really enjoy the desires. The desires are going to lead you to where you want to get to, and don't ignore them. Don't listen to other people telling you you can't do it, you can't go there, you can't have it. Just allow yourself to dream big, and then believe in yourself.
Mm-hmm. I like that also, like dreaming big, but also appreciating things that you do have, and but at the same time going with a deeper purpose, like, you know, going for what you actually want, because, you know, 10, 20 years later, you could be regretting that you didn't go after that dream. And sometimes that dream is just a small thing, right? And we kind of like push it aside. We say, yeah, maybe one day.
Yeah, like for me, the trampoline in the garden was a dream, and it's so nice to see that. Sorry, my son's just got back. But yeah, and just appreciating the moments.
Yes. Hi.
Hello. Okay.
Everybody gets to.
Some cereal. Sorry about that.
I think it's so important to share your life with people. You know, it's like a part of you. You know, it's like my son. He always comes in the door. Like, even when I say don't, to like I have something to do, and mommy has something to do. But I think
you say no. Yeah.
Yeah.
For me, the sharing thing, I've been quite a shy person, so this is quite new for me. And, you know, I do lots of my clients on Skype and then talking to you, but it's not natural. I'm like, I feel like I'm trying to open up and share more work. And so, yeah, that's been my little hurdle.
Right, and being a single mom is not easy. Like, you have so many hats to put on, you know, a working mom, to, you know, making enough money for what you need, to, you know, your family goals and your little ones' goals. And I think it's important that, like, we share from an authentic place. Like, this is just the way our life is. This is what we struggle with. This is what we're good at, you know, like, and being okay with, like, showing those different hats, different parts of yourself, and integrating them so that they work with you too.
Yeah, and knowing we don't have to be perfect. We're just human, and we're doing the best we can. And yeah.
Thank you so much for taking this time with us, to share your story, to, like, share different parts of yourself. Even your son is beautiful. So, is there any, like, last things that you have? Like, do you have, like, a gift for my audience that you want to share, or even just your website? So how can people get in contact with you?
Yeah, sure. So the Facebook group, The Art of Appreciating, is probably a good way. I'm actually working on my website at the moment. It is there, but it's about to be new and improved. So it's emma-burton.com. Yeah, I'll put some discounted offers and things into the Facebook group, so there'll be a link. People can book a clarity call with me there. So if they join that group, and then they can find out some more about me.
Awesome. Thank you so much. So next week we're going to have another interview series. Not next week, in 2 weeks. And so we have beautiful, you know, artists and people who are really genius at what they do. And so thank you so much for taking this time with us. And we'll see you guys all very soon. Aloha.